Hey everyone, what's going on? Morph here, and welcome to a Nemleria deck breakdown video. I've noticed that a few of the deck breakdown videos I've done on the channel recently have had a really great response, so I figured I'd keep at it with some of the new cards released in the Indomitable Pride Pack, and today's deck of choice is none other than Nemleria. And in my opinion is one of the most slept on new decks released in the new pack. Okay, that was a bad pun, I know. I don't regret it. Also, before we begin, I'd like to thank you all so much for the support with our recent videos. It really means a lot to me, and it makes me feel motivated to do even better. That being said, if you like this video and want to see more like it, please consider subscribing or even just leaving a comment with your thoughts. Things I could do better, things that you guys are enjoying, just stuff like that, so we can continue to evolve and make better content. Anyway though, as for today's video, we will be going over the Nemleria archetype and some tech cards that you can use in it in order to make it more powerful. So without further ado, let's go over the monster cards. To start, we have the one dreaming everything up, Dreaming Nemleria. This is a level 1 pendulum monster with 0 attack and 1500 defense, but we're really interested in its effects. Its pendulum effect allows you to place a Nemleria continuous spell from your deck to the field in exchange for adding this card to your extra deck face up. It's a pretty good trade-off because its true power comes from being face up in an empty extra deck. So basically its effect reads, if this card is special summoned, for every 3 of your face down banished cards, you can banish up to 1 card from your opponent's field and or graveyard. And then after this, you can shuffle 1 of your face-down banished cards back to your deck for each card banished. So let's say in your banished pile, you have 15 face-down banished cards. You don't have anything in your extra deck except Dreaming Nemleria. Its effect allows you to special summon itself from the extra deck into the extra monster zone. You special summon it, banish at least 5 cards from the field, face down, non-targeting removal, and then you get to add 5 of your face down banished, let's just say in this case extra deck cards, 5 of your face down banished extra deck cards back to your extra deck, so that way you can go into more Nemleria plays, so that way you can keep banishing cards, keep activating effects, stuff like that, and it is such a great card. It's really powerful. It's a great way to clear your opponent's field and to recycle materials into your extra deck, like I was saying. It's because of this and some effects we'll mention later that I think this card is an easy 3 of in the deck. I don't think you should be playing anything less than 3 copies. This card is the bread and butter of the deck. Alrighty. Next up is Nemleria Dream Defender Aureoler, a rare rarity level 10 beast type monster with 2500 attack and 2000 defense. This monster has the effect to be able to special summon itself from the hand if you have a face-up pendulum monster in your extra deck. In this case, we'll always want this to be our Dreaming Nemleria. It also has a second effect where you can banish 1 face-down card from your extra deck face down. And this card gains 500 attack for every monster your opponent currently controls until the end phase of that turn. It's really good to be able to bait out negates and just to be able to swing into your opponent's monsters, their life points. It is important to keep in mind that each of this card's effects are hard once per turn, meaning even if you have 2 copies of this card on the field, you can only activate each effect 1 time. You can't activate each card's effect, if that makes sense. That being said though, this card is really nice for its huge attack potential and for being a beast type, which we will also get to later. So that's why I typically tend to run 3 of this card in my deck list. I think it is really nice, and yeah, on to the next one. Alrighty, Nemleria Dream Defender Coet is next on the list. This is a rare rarity level 10 beast type monster with 2000 attack and 2500 defense. It shares the effect with Aureolar, being that it can special summon itself from the hand if you have a face-up Pendulum monster in your extra deck. However, where it differs is with its second effect, that being that when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets an Nemleria card you control, you can banish one face-down card from your extra deck face down to negate the activation. It's a very nice defense to be able to protect your Nemleria cards from potential negates and destruction, but it's important to keep in mind that only negates effects. It doesn't negate and destroy, for instance. Also, I didn't mention it earlier, but it's important to keep in mind that Aureolar and Coet's second effect are both quick effects, meaning they can be used on either turn. And again, like Aureolar, its effects are also hard once per turns. It's a nice card. I find myself relying on it a little less than Aureolar, and that's why I run 2 copies, but it's still a really good card to have in the deck. Moving on to Nemleria Dream Devourer Reveille. It's a super rare level 10 beast type monster with 2500 attack and 2500 defense. This card has the following effects, being that if it is in your hand or graveyard, you can special summon this card by banishing 3 cards from your extra deck face down, except Dreaming Nemleria. Furthermore, this effect also locks you from special summoning any monsters from your extra deck the turn you activate this effect, except for Pendulum monsters, but with this kind of deck, we're not really going to be using any other summoning mechanics, so that doesn't really matter too much. And with its second effect, you can send one other level 10 monster from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard to set one Nemleria trap directly from your deck. While each of these effects might be a hard once per turn, I think that just the ease of being able to summon it, plus the fact that you are able to set a Nemleria trap directly from your deck, makes it an easy 3 of in the deck, in my opinion. That's what I do, at least. As for the last main deck monster, we have Dreaming Reality of Nemleria Realized, a super rare level 10 fairy type monster with 1500 attack and 3000 defense. Very important to keep in mind that it is a fairy type. We will get on that later. Its effects read, if this card is in your hand, you can target one monster you control, place it on the bottom of your deck, and if you do, special summon this card. When this card is special summoned, you have your choice of two different effects. The first being that you can add one Dreaming Nemleria from your deck to your extra deck face up, and the second being that you can change one other face up monster on the field to face down defense position. I can see the second effect having some niche uses, but if we're being completely honest, I believe that using the first effect to add Dreaming Nemleria to your extra deck face up is the far superior option. It allows you to switch on your Aureolar and Coet's effects while also enabling other plays down the road with other types of Nemleria cards. I personally run it at 2 copies. I think that's a little bit of a brick if you run too many. Say you don't have monsters on board, it's kind of a dead card in hand. But yeah, I think 2 copies is the sweet spot, if you will. And the puns won't stop today. Moving on to one of the 2 spells in the archetype, we have the ultra-rare Sweet Dreams Nemleria, an ultra-rare normal spell card that lets you add one Nemleria monster from your deck to your hand, and if you have a Dreaming Nemleria face-up in your extra deck, your opponent cannot activate cards or effect this turn when a Nemleria monster is normal or special summoned. For its second effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard in order to target one Dreaming Nemleria you control and add to your extra deck face-up. So basically what you're wanting to do with this is special summon your Dreaming Nemleria from your extra deck, do your banishes, and then you can banish this card from your graveyard, put it back in your extra deck, and now you have the opportunity to do it all over again. It's really, really nice. Something to keep in mind, you can only activate 1 copy of this card per turn, but even so, it is a card that I believe you have to run at 3. It is just that good, and yeah. The last spell card of the archetype is the super rare continuous spell card called Dream Tower of Princess Nemleria. This card lets you banish 2 face down cards from your extra deck face down in order to add 2 level 10 beast type monsters from your deck to your hand. Like Reveille, once this effect activates, you are locked into summoning only Pendulum monsters from your extra deck for the rest of the turn, as well as this effect being a hard once per turn. Now, the reason why I made such a big deal earlier about Realize being a fairy type is you cannot add Realized from your deck to your hand using this effect, because the thing is with Dream Tower, it lets you add 2 level 10 beast type monsters from your deck. However, Realized is a fairy type, so yeah, it's still a really good card. You can still add a lot of good stuff, but basically, yeah, you just need to make sure that you don't have your hopes set on adding Realized. But in any case, to delve deeper into its second effect, which is not a hard once per turn, basically you can activate its second effect as long as you have face down cards in your extra deck, because if a Nemleria monster you control would be destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect while you have Dreaming Nemleria face up in your extra deck, you can banish one face down card in your extra deck face down, and that'll take the place of the destruction. It's essentially like a pseudo armor and extra life type thing. It's really good against annoying destruction effects. And it's a really useful card. I personally run 2 copies. However, I am going to experiment. Maybe I'll run 3 in the future. We will have to see. As for the Nemleria traps, we have 2. The first being Nemleria Love, a normal rarity trap card that lets you special summon 1 Nemleria monster or level 10 beast monster from your hand or deck in defense mode, as long as you return it to your hand during the end phase of the turn. So essentially what you can do is activate this card's effect and then special summon your Realized in order to add 1 Dreaming Nemleria from your deck to your face up, from your deck face up to your extra deck. So that's a really good utility. You can use it to special summon a Coet to be able to get a targeting negate. It's really good, and its second effect just keeps going with the goodness. Its second effect allows you to banish this card from your graveyard to target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, and you can reduce its attack and defense by 100 for each face-down banish card you have until the end phase of this turn. So essentially you're hoping to have like 15-ish cards banished at a time, so that's 1500 attack and defense lower. That's pretty good. Each effect is a hard once per turn, but honestly each effect is so useful that I still play it at 2 copies. I think it's really good. I think it's really good to be able to turn the tides and to be able to get some resources if you're in a pinch. And the last card in the Nemleria archetype is the super rarity Nemleria Repeater, a continuous trap that, as long as you control another Nemleria card, allows you to banish cards from your extra deck face down, except Dreaming Nemleria, in order to activate one of the following effects each turn. Banish 1, and you can add 1 Nemleria card from your graveyard to your hand. Banish 2, and you can have any damage you take this turn. And finally, banish 3 cards, and you can send 1 level 10 beast type monster to the graveyard, and if you do, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls until the end phase. It's a good card, and I can definitely see it getting some play with like the first effect and the third effect. However, I currently only run 1 copy of it. I think it's good, but I don't think it's like game-breaking. Alrighty, that is all the Nemleria cards, but there are a few more cards I wanted to touch on real quick. In my deck, usually I run 3 copies of Eater of Millions. This is a really easy card to summon most of the time. It must be special summoned from your hand by banishing 5 or more cards from your field, hand, and or extra deck face down. It gains 100 attack and defense for each face down banished card. Cannot be distributed nor used as material for fusion, synchro, or Xyz summon. Not like we're going to anyway. And soft once per turn. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can banish that opponent's monster face down. So again, really good non-targeting removal, very useful. Then I usually play 2 copies of Gren Maju. This card's really good because it gains 400 attack and defense for each of your banished cards. Again, very useful. Let's say you have 15 cards banished face down. That's 6,000 attack right there. It is just insanity. Other useful cards could be stuff like a triple tactics talent, stuff like a triple tactics thrust to be able to, search out your other cards in the deck, your normal spells and traps, to be able to steal a monster, draw two, to be able to choose a card from your opponent's hand and shuffle it back. It's just really good. Something I also recommend is to Call by the Grave. You can use it to negate pesky things like Maxi, Ash Blossom, just things you don't really want to see, things that could mess up your combos. Also, I play in my deck one Pot of Extravagance and one Pot of Prosperity. They're really good to be able to kind of clear out your extra deck and be able to get card advantage when activating them. Being able to draw more cards is always a good thing. And those are just a few of the cards you can run in it, though. I definitely plan to upload more videos talking about different variations of the deck, talking about different deck lists and stuff, some ranked duels. It's going to be great. But I really hope that you all enjoyed today's deck breakdown. I know it was a lot, but I really want to get this deck out there. It's really fun, and I feel like it deserves its time in the spotlight. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.